All right, well, let's get started. Today we're going to
Okay.
discuss preparation for promissory notes, requests, and employee gold submission. And there's basically 6 things that need to be done. The first thing, Youngie, is to decide what currency you'll use, whether it's BVK, Zcash, or chips, or I think we can even do a combination of same. So depending upon the member you're helping or yourself, you'll need to establish what route we're going to go. Now, in using Zcash, that is the most easily usable currency. You have the option, if you have no Zcash, to use your BVK. And if you have a member or yourself, you would be actively working the protocols, so you can even apply for Zcash credit. But if the member is not going to really be doing any work and they're going to use their BVK, then they would actually transfer their BVK to admin and it would be spent. Okay? Any
Okay.
questions there?
No.
Okay. The next thing that you would need to do is to outline the debts. And the debt outline would include all the contact information if the debt is going to be covered and the promissory note is going to be made to the person that you owe the debt to. So if it's, let's say, Bank of America, you would need to have the contact information and it would the promissory note would be made out to Bank of America. I personally suggest that the promissory notes be made out to the individual who is collecting, wanting to collect on the promissory notes. That way, the beneficiary name would be yourself or myself, whoever's making it out, and you could have several made out. Now, if you have already an agreement made with a company that they're going to be accepting a promissory note, then obviously you would make the promissory note out in their name. The debts can include any type of debt, public or private, and you would need to have the amount of the debt and any penalties, interest, etc., can be included. The address, contact information, email would all need to be in an email submission, and I'll show you an email submission in a moment. There's other things that
There.
can be requested as well. Personal funding. You might suggest that you, in this particular case, if this was for you, that you wanted to request a couple of $100,000 to allow you to be full time within the club's protocols. So you could create a promissory note for $200,000 specific for that. You would outline the reasons that you're going to do it, because with the opportunity of this new partnership that's been created, there's going to be need of a more detailed business plan. But in this specific initial request, the business plan does not need to be presented, just the overview. So you would want to work towards the business plan. Now, in the case of, just looking up the words here, there it is. In the case of buying a home or a car or anything else for that matter, furniture, you would create a use of funds commitment. And the use of funds commitment basically outlines, I'm going to be buying a new car. Here's the model. Here's the link to the website to show you what the model would look like. The price of that particular car, based on the dealership that I'm dealing with, is such and such an amount. Okay, and that's a use of funds commitment statement. You would do that for a home, you would do that for a car, you would do that for personal funding, outlining any other requests you would have. Any questions there?
Yes. First of all, that the member are starting a new business.
Mm-hmm.
Is it possible for her to request that?
Yes, absolutely. And we're going to come to that in number 6. And I'll show you how to
Okay.
get that new business started.
And another thing is, you says contact information, for example, Bank of America.
Hmm.
I mean, who will be the contact? I mean, the branch office
Yeah,
or?
well, wherever you're making your payments to now,
Hmm.
so that's you would just contact them and say, look, I'm planning on paying off my uh, debt with a check. Don't say promissory note. Just say
Hmm.
who would I make the check out to, and
Oh,
okay, and that way you can get the beneficiary name. It'll probably be Bank
but
of America.
okay, but you said I could make the beneficiary of the promissory note to me, right?
Yes, yes, and then you'll follow the
Even if I'm going to
protocol.
pay. Hmm.
You'll follow the protocol that's on the website. When you come over here to chipstashcorner.com.
Hmm.
Oh, they've made some changes here. Look at this.
They're so much cleaner.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, a lot of things are gone.
yeah. Well, again, the new public-private partnership is going to make major changes. So if you come over here to the Lastrada Bank instruction letter, and you have the promissory note made out to you, okay, open letter to banks, collection of Lastrada promissory note. Following information is pertinent if a client of your bank requests your help to collect a Lastrada promissory note. All right, so what you want to do is you'll follow this protocol, and you'll take this to the bank. The promissory note's made out to you, but you're going to have them help you collect. So all the instructions are here on how to do that. The other thing that you have is, oops, back over to here. You have the actual draft of the promissory note, and it gives you the two options. The two options are outlined. Okay. Payment on demand, that's the first one. And again, this has been rewritten. I had to scroll up and down to see where I was. Payment on demand, the promissory note should be paid in Zcash. Bank says, don't want the Zcash. You decide you're not going to spend the $5,000 and run it through twice. So you got to go to payment via documentary funds. Alternatively, this promissory note may be collected by a lawful beneficiary as follows. The beneficiary may request and enter a contract with the issuer to provide documentary funds in the amount of this note or such other amount as may be agreed. Such documentary funds shall be collateralized by USD deposits in one or more financial institutions and used as a basis for trading to produce sufficient profits, which shall be allocated to liquidate the amount due via this promissory note. Upon entering such a contract with the issuer, the promissory note shall be null and void. All right, so that's the start of this. You then would come over here and you'd go to the bank and you'd use this document to have them understand what it is you're asking them to do. Okay, any questions there?
Hmm. No, so if it's a promissory note is beneficiary is made out to me, then I have to go through this. But if it's out to Bank of America, we just send the promissory note to them to pay off the debt.
Yes, but remember, if you read the
Hmm.
terms and conditions, you're still obligated as the debtor to, or the dettee, I forget what. Anyway, you owe the debt, so you have to be assisting them in the collection process. So you would again use this document and say, "You're the beneficiary. I want to show you how you can collect on it." And so we're not just throwing a promissory note at somebody and saying it's yours. You're done, and I have no more to do with you. My debt's paid off. We do not want to create a bad reputation that people don't understand what to do with a promissory note. We've had this occur already where that has happened and people are being sued and there's no reason for it. You just need to make sure that you work with the bank to make sure it gets collected. And it's going to get easier and easier as time progresses because of this new relationship, which we'll discuss briefly. I don't have all the details on it yet. That help you
Okay.
out?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so back to our document. All right, so the other thing we would want to do, I would think in your particular case, I know you have probably a lot of BVK. Do you have a lot of Zcash as well?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Well, then what you'd want to do is you'd want to have at least another promissory note created for 25,000, which would give you 5 LHP retail admin fees. So you would go and collect it, you'd have the cash, and now you'd be able to come back and you'd be able to do this 5 more times. Well, each time you do it, if you created another $25,000 promissory note, you could do it 5 more times. So, the idea is that you're going to come out of pocket one time and never have to do it again. Understand?
Yeah, but Gary, isn't it going to cost 35,000 in the future, or just
Oh, it's
another
going to cost a lot
5,000?
more. So we're going to cover that in number 5.
Okay.
All right. Now, you're going to
Okay.
create a promissory note for the Public-Private Partnership Protocol, the PPPPPPPP. Anyway, a lot of P's there. The Public-Private Partnership Protocol is going to be $150,000. Now,
Ooh.
yeah, having said that, there are several ways to negotiate, and in your particular case, because you are a worker and have worked in the past and are still working in the present and into the future, you may be able to negotiate a way with which to pay that 150,000. So, again, for this overview, I would suggest that anybody creates a promissory note for 300,000 to cover the Public-Private Partnership Protocol twice. All right?
Oh, okay.
And so that's not to say that you're going to be able to get it through the first time to get that 300,000. You're going to have negotiated with the work center and ultimately within your business plan to validate with the public-private partnership that you are prepared to do the work, have business in hand or going to create business to bring in, such as the rebate program, the LHP retail, the LHP wholesale. All of those products and services for THI are what will allow you to earn on the $150,000 fee. You would need to sell 3 of those, and you're going to
Oh,
receive 50,000. So 50,000 times 3 gets you the 150,000. So that would be work that would needed to be done. And you say, well, who can afford 150,000? Well, when people see how quickly this public-private partnership protocol will be able to exchange BVK and Zcash and chips into the currency of their choice, they either need to get to work or they need to borrow 150 grand to pay the fee. It's their choice. And if they don't want to do it, that's their choice. But if you're sitting on a gold mine, I would say it's time to get to work. And so that is going to provide the sponsor, the work center, and administration substantial fees in USD immediately, and then it'll provide the member who is going to be the beneficiary of these promissory notes into the currency of their choice a fabulous opportunity. So you'd want to have that, I think, at least a backup to the backup. You'd have 2 of those ready to go for the next ones you want to do, and you've got the $5,000 admin fee. There'll be more details on that on Thursday the 7th webinar. Is today Tuesday or Wednesday?
today's Tuesday.
Tuesday. Okay, so it'll be the 7th. Yeah, so May 7th webinar.
Okay.
We'll have the details on the public-private partnership protocol, what it's going to cost, and how it'll be done. And there's a percentage. It's 2% or 150 grand, whichever is greater. So, but again, we're hoping that the members that are already with us, like yourself, are going to be actively promoting and doing business, and that can be negotiated. Okay?
Okay.
All right, and then create promissory notes for the employee gold business coefficients. And so anybody who is going to do this within Brightstar, it is my recommendation that everybody participate in employee gold and the walking billboard advertising business coefficient. The reason being is because, again, we're trying to bring business to the club. We're trying to support protocols that the club wants to do for humanitarian efforts. And the San Miguel El Salvador project is near and dear to Mr. B's heart. And so I have found that if you will work and help him, he will work and help you. So it is my recommendation that everybody participate in the employee gold. So in the particular submission that was just made, the application fee of $175 for yourself, for the other two people that you've referred, has already been sent in. So the next thing we need to do is to work with those individuals to bring them to the Employee Gold application, which we'll do in just a minute. Before we do that, though, I'd like to go back and create the outline for debts and other requests. Now, I don't have any debts, so I did an outline for requests. I'll just show you mine. It's outdated, but at least it will give you an idea of what needs to be done. So, can you see that okay?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so My Fuel Club, Walking Billboard Advertising Coefficient, Right Star Work Center, Employee Gold, MFC-001, Promissory Note Request. So I was putting this together in order to get the My Fuel Club going for its promissory note requests. So this is my formal request to purchase a promissory note using Zcash retail LHP purchases. The promissory note will be used to purchase 2 homes, 1 hotel for ongoing income, 2 vehicles, set up 2 business entities, legal expenses, operating expenses. So in addition to that, anybody that's got debts, they're going to outline the debts. They're going to outline any other things that they want. So as you can see here, we've got Walking Billboard Advertising Coefficient with $66,000. So we need a promissory note for $66,000. Personal home purchase in Santiago, $675,000. I have the link showing the property. Operating and repair and renovation expenses, $100,000, which is basically going to operate the house, buy some furniture for it, and get it set up. Home purchase for in-laws and school set up in the Garabo subdivision. There's another house close to that neighborhood that we want to move our family there so that they can be close to Diana. And so that's $255,000. And again, the link is there. Hotel purchase for ongoing revenue stream in Sosua Cabarete is $2.2 million. The link to the resort hotel is there. Renovations to the hotel kitchen and the grounds was $200,000. Personal vehicle, a Hyundai Starex H1 van for $25,000. It's a used one, but I really like it. Personal vehicle, a Kia Carens 2011, $16,162. And then legal expenses to set up the 2 new companies, $100,000. And the CHIPS exchange operating expense for personal, $100,000. So the total promissory notes will be $3,737,162. Now, this is just a mock-up. It was something I put together to be able to show people. This is not my actual submission. It's a lot higher. And that's okay, because I'm doing the work to be able to merit more on the first go-round. But as I was told by Mr. B, we need to start with something reasonable and then grow into some of these larger proposals, because we now have a new set of eyes that will be reviewing our purchases. And that new set of eyes, obviously, is the monarchy that we have a partnership with. And so until we get things smoothed out and the protocols accurately defined, we don't want to be doing billions of dollars worth of promissory notes at the very beginning. We want to kind of have people work into it. So I'm suggesting, 25, 35 million. In your particular case, you had a property you were looking at in that price range, I think. Were you not?
Yeah, 25, about 40 million, something like that. Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, again, in a $40 million property, it's got to be able to be justified as to why you want to purchase a $40 million property. And it can't just be because I want to earn money from it. There's got to be other reasons involved, and those other reasons would be that I want to be able to employ people. I want to be able to rent to businesses that will be using ICC protocols. You want to paint the picture, tell the story as to why you should be able to have a $43 million business, building, I should say, because the concern that the people that are allowing us to do this is that we are going to be wanting to get all this stuff for our own personal wealth creation. And it's got to be for building the economy, employing people, and doing good within the community. So if you're going to have a building, a 20-story building, you might want to take one floor and turn it into a daycare center, and do an employee gold daycare center for people who work within the building. They can drop their kids off there, and they get a reduced rate, and they can pay for it in Zcash and chips, those kinds of things. That's what's going to sell the monarchy on us being able to have large projects able to be initiated. It's got to have some humanitarian content to it. Not that the whole thing has to, but again, we've got to have that flavor to it, at least a little bit. Understood?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So that's the example of what you would complete, and you'd have all the debts listed, and you'd have the person of the promissory note, who the promissory note, and I haven't got that here. But again, this was an original mock-up. So the 66,000 promissory note, I would put underneath here, beneficiary Gary Douglas Homes. Okay.
I see. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So beneficiary. Oops. Okay. And then you just do the same for each one coming down. All right?
I see.
And if it's somebody different, that's fine. Again, when we look at promissory notes for other people, it's not supposed to happen. The promissory notes that you're having issued are for you and your immediate family basis. That would be husband, wife, and pre-adult children. So up to 18, I guess, whatever the legal age. If you wanted to buy your son a car, if he was 16 or something, or you needed to take college tuition, you could have your immediate family. And if it was for college tuition, you could probably have somebody over 18 if they're in, but their immediate family. It's not for brothers and sisters and aunts and uncles. Okay?
Okay.
And it's not for friends. It's specifically designed to cover you and your relationship with the club. Okay? It's your membership.
Okay.
All right. And then we can now go to the, we're got to hit the right one. It's over here. This, again, is the employee gold application. And so when you say you have somebody that wants to set up a business, this is how you would set it up. And it would get them the Zcash in order to do that, and it would be a second submission. All right, so it's not going to be setting up your business on the first. You get the original promissory notes, you'd get the walking billboard coefficient covered from the first, and so you got to do this basically simultaneously. So the first part, again, hereby agrees to function as a purchasing agent. All this means is that if Ben were to request of you, because you're in Virginia, and he wants to do a project in Virginia, and he would ask you, can you find me a hotel? Can you find me, a facility to be able to work out of while I'm in Virginia, setting up this project? Can you find me construction company, architects? And so he would provide for you cost plus an agreed profit margin for procuring all these services or products. And that's pretty much what your requirement would be. Also, you could be bringing businesses to him, or actually to THI, and that's also part of the protocol with which would allow for the promissory notes to be issued as a trade-off, the negotiation part. Okay?
Okay.
Number two, you would agree to hereby advertise employee gold to 2 other businesses. And I think that's pretty simple to do. You'd probably, once you've got funding, you'll be advertising it to every business because it's going to be so exciting. The next, number 3 says you're going to be advertising whatever products and services your business has to offer on a showcase place. Now, you are in that situation where you could set up and provide space on a showcase place. You have lots of places, do you not?
I only have one or two. Yeah.
Okay, well, you would have the ability. I know you've got a sponsor place. If we got you a showcase place, that's fine. You could set up a website and you could advertise for yourself and for others, accepting Zcash and chips. And again, the prices will be quoted in Zcash and chips, but you don't have to deliver until you've got it converted to the currency that needs to be able to pay for those products and services. Understood?
Okay.
Then B says, although it's not required, we may also direct interested buyers to chips-corner.com billboard, and you can go click on that link. And basically what it is the ability to buy advertising T-shirts. And so you want to be able to set up a walking billboard advertising business. Now, this is what I recommend everybody does. Now, are other work centers doing this? Probably not. Do I care? Really, no. I'm looking after the members that we have. I know what Ben's looking for. And if you're going to submit for Employee Gold, if you will add this component, committing to support San Miguel, and you're also going to commit to support yourself with this. So when we look at the budget in this particular case, I wanted a full-time website designer, maintenance and interface for $90,000. You may want to set up a website. You may not need to spend $90,000, but that's your choice. My past experience has been this, and the reason I've basically controlled 3 of the websites that I run is because whenever I've hired somebody else to do the work for me, they hang me out to dry. I need to upload materials or whatever, and they're never around to do it for me, or they want more money or whatever. This way, if I've got a full-time employee, they work for me, and I control when they're working and what they're working on. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, for my fuel club, I'm looking for 100 trainees. And basically what they're going to be doing is going out 2 by 2 into the business community, so in your particular case, into Virginia. And they would go 2 by 2 in groups of 10. And what you'll do is you'll be able to buy some vans, 10 vans, and you'll have a manager driving the van with communication tools. They'll all have smartphones. They'll all have nice brochures. They'll all be dressed in nice sportswear with a logo on the front and the walking billboard advertising website that you're going to promote. In your particular case, it might be your health product. In my particular case, it would be my fuel club. And so we would have these people 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, into the community, promoting with a brochure, 2 by 2, and that way there's always backup and somebody listening, and there's always the ability to make sure that people are doing the work. And so they would be able to communicate with the managers, and the manager would be able to go to a site. If the site was very interested, wanted more information, the manager would be trained well enough that they could go and do an actual Employee Gold presentation right on the spot. They'd have a computer, they'd have the laptop, they'd be able to do the presentation. So we would pay them $26,000 and $37,000 respectively, full-time accountant. Now, in this particular case, you would put yourself in here, or they would put themselves in here, 200 grand, 150 grand, 300,000, $500,000, a couple $100,000 is probably, I think, comfortable. Mm-hmm. Then the assistant to the CEO, 80,000, could be 90,000, could be 100,000. That person is going to run the business for the walking billboard advertising. They will be in charge of the 10 managers and the 100 trainees. Okay? So it's not a burden for you to set up a walking billboard advertising. You'll obviously have the burden to set it up and get it operational and hire somebody. But once that's done, their job is to learn the protocols and then hire the people and get everybody set to go out. And certainly I would be coaching anybody and everybody that's going to be doing this. Okay?
Okay.
Now, Bright Star Work Center consulting fees, $2.4 million. House Services consulting fees, $2.4 million. And I've had some people say, whoa, wait a second, that's an awful lot of money we're paying you. Well, yes, it is, but it's a gift. Remember, in the employee gold, whatever is set up for wages, the company gets double. All right? You get the same amount for buying a building, starting your business, advertising, whatever it is you're going to do beyond. You needed computers, you needed cell phones, you needed the vans. In this particular case, 10.7 to 10,720,000 can buy a pretty nice building, and it can also buy you all the vans and computers and desks and everything you need, couldn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if it needs to be more, for whatever the business is going to be set up, you can have what we've got here. This is really just a walking billboard advertising business. But you have somebody that says, well, I want to set up a business that's going to be manufacturing, going to be retailing, wholesaling. You can set up the employees and add the employees for that. You can have separate accountants for that. You can, set up a separate business and still include it in this one submission. But this is a walking billboard advertising protocol application. Go ahead and add whatever else you want to add in here. So in your particular case, you've got your healthcare products. So you can go in and say you wanted 10 sales reps. You wanted to have a manager for those 10 sales reps. So you add that in there. And instead of paying them just $26,000, you might say, well, I'm going to pay them $50,000 a year, and then they're going to have commissionable earnings on top of that. So you would then be able to say 10 times $50,000 and a manager for $100,000, and then a separate accountant and a separate manager to manage them. Understood?
Mm-hmm.
And then you would take probably 40% of all the wages, because you're living in the United States, and do that for employment taxes, benefits, and that way you've got that covered. You also would be in a situation to provide hiring bonuses and performance bonuses, etc. So I put in $300,000. You may have a different figure in mind. Then healthcare coverage to be determined. I put in $300,000. And remember, this can be tied into the ability to utilize, and so we'll come back over here. Oops. This. Okay, so we've got the healthcare solution. And so when we look at the healthcare solution, we're not a healthcare provider, but we're considered patients, right?
Okay.
So what we would do here is number 3, form a business that registers with Employee Gold, which we're just doing right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And use that service to take care of insurance, co-payments, other medical costs and benefits, as well as income. All right? So we combine that, and then we do a healthcare solution overview, and we add that in here to the healthcare coverages. So that $300,000, that was done before the healthcare solution would be considered, but what you would do is you'd pick up the phone and say, look, I've got 200 employees. I want to provide the best healthcare possible. What's the package going to cost me for 200 employees? And then you just factor that in, put it in there.
Okay.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So the grand total in this particular example is $10,720,000. Now, we recognize the above amount requires 11 walking billboard advertising business coefficients. And the 11 is a roundup. For every million, you have to provide the advertising coefficient, which is basically 50 people for San Miguel. All right? So the starting point is it's going to require 11 times $7,500 in USD bank deposit funds, which is $82,500. So you don't have $82,500. But when we come back over here to this, you'll see in here, I've got a low figure. There it is. Walking billboard advertising coefficient was 66,000. All right. So I've made some amendments and need to get it up to the 82.5 on the new one. Understand?
Okay.
So we put that in there, and we're going to get a promissory note to cover that. So that's not going to be a problem because we're not going to have to come out of pocket. We're going to get that done on the first go-through. All right, so we hereby acknowledge and accept that this payment will be completed prior to receiving the $10,720,000 Zcash, but it actually gets better. because we also understand that once the above requirement is satisfied, we are to receive an additional amount of Zcash valued at 11 times 82.5 times 50. That's 45,375,000, one half of which will be used to pay persons that shall work as advertising in the published protocol. So we're going to give half of that 45 million to Ben, and he's going to give that to the folks in El Salvador, San Miguel, to set up and we get the other half. Is that okay?
Yeah.
I think so. So here we have the 10,720,000 times 2, because remember, whatever this figure is, it's twice that amount. That's 21,440,000. Can your friend start a business for that kind of money?
Oh, yeah, sure.
All right. Plus the advertising privilege coefficient, which was 45 million, that's 66 million. And so we're going to get 33,407,500 Zcash. Well, guess what we've done? In our original request over here, we've made that request. We've got that covered. And we've also made the request here for the additional administration fee of 5,000 and the 150,000 to put it through. So yes, we're going to have to do some work on all of them, but this first one sets us up to get how many more millions? Oops, wrong one. A total of 66 million. Now remember, we're going to give half of that 45 million away, which is 27 million. But that's still 27 million that we have, plus the 21 million that we have. So who couldn't start a business and do some pretty amazing things?
So, Gary, are you gonna send me this sample to me?
Oh, it's going to be on the website as well, and you'll have a copy of the webinar. And I'm going to use this as a training tool, because everybody needs to be aware of all of this information. So are there any last questions before we close?
No, not at this time, but the thing is to be able to collect on promissory note. You said Bank of America, Wells Fargo might be easier because they have a contract.
Well, the contracts are in place. It's not operational yet for all banks, but you certainly could approach and set up an account in either of those banks. Probably Wells Fargo would be the one I would prefer. The second thing is that we have a group out of California that have put together a large amount of stocks, and they're going to be set up as another opportunity, and they may have the ability to collect for you as well. And then obviously there's the new PPP, the public-private protocol, the partnership protocol. That's going to require the bigger figures. So you'll have more information this Thursday's webinar on how that'll work. It's just being formalized by the leadership, and I should have information either today or tomorrow on that and be ready and trained for it for Thursday. So there'll be several ways with which you can collect your promissory notes. Plus you can still go, and remember, things are going to change dramatically with this public-private partnership. It's no longer virtual digital currency. This is sovereign legal tender. So it's going to change the way we can do business. We're going to find that over time, people will be able to just use their Zcash and chips, and you'll find facilities that will be able to accept that. I'll be working on some myself.
Okay, Gary. So that means. Do we still bring more banks to the table, or
it would be,
we don't have to until...
We don't need more banks, but it would be wise to approach banks with this latest development, and I would not approach any banks until after Thursday's webinar, so you have more details. But certainly, I think banks will be a lot more open when they find out we have a sovereign nation that has now made legal tender since 1996. It's called Nunc Pro Tunc, from then till now. And we'll be explaining that on Thursday's webinar. but the agreement makes all transactions with Zcash and chips from 1996 and 1999, when chips were created, legal tender through the sovereign nation.
Wow.
It's amazing.
Wow.
It's going to change the way business is done all over the world. It's super exciting. So we'll have all the details hopefully available, or at least details available on Thursday, and more details on how the protocol works over the next couple of weeks. But we're here. I mean, this is so exciting.
Okay, Gary, I have one more question for Matt, who's going to purchase the building, but he's got the seller wanted to take it to have a promissory note first, and take it to the bank and see if it's gonna be able to cash in their way, and then they will sign the contract. So is it possible?
No, you need a contract signed. You're not going to give this guy full payment in full. And you're going to give a guy, let's say, 200,000 euro, and take it to the Bank of America and see if they can collect it. And then if they can collect it, no way. He can take the samples of the promissory notes to the bank any day of the week he wants. And all the protocols are there, and he can start that discussion with the bank. He doesn't need to be paid in full from the promissory notes. No way, Jose, would I be doing that for anybody.
No, I don't think that's that's what happens. But okay, so
wait till Thursday, because everything can change on Thursday.
Okay, I have another question though about this today's webinar. Is it possible to have issued one promissory note to purchase the building? But what if it that's it, right? One at a time. So this $5,000 will cover.
No, you can have multiple. One? You just missed it. Look at how many promissory notes I got listed here.
Yeah, but what if I don't have a contract, or I don't have any buildings that's lined up to?
Well, then what you'll do is you do what I do here. I don't have a contract for this house for $675,000, but I've listed that's the house I want to buy. So you can have a listing, and you have the promissory note made out to you. And so you can say, look, I got a promissory note. The promissory note can be exchanged as long as you say, we now have a contract. I'll give you the promissory note. Well, your name's on it. If he wants to change the name, it'll cost him $500, but it doesn't really matter. You've got a paper trail saying, I've given you this promissory note, and it's like cash. It is cash.
Great. That's what I wanted to hear. Great.
Yeah. Yeah. So you can be trading that promissory note, and that's what's going to start to happen. People won't need to cash them anymore, because it's real legal tender with the Zcash in it being declared sovereign legal tender from the country in Europe.
So for Matt and myself who want to buy the building, we can put together a list of buildings that we are negotiating right now, and get the promissory note issued to my name, and
but remember to start in that 25 to 35 million range. If you got one at 40 million, that's okay. But just don't go crazy the first time through. We've got to remember.
I know
it's got to be stepped up over time. And you have to be able to justify it, because I'm not the final say anymore. Before, I could say, yes, Youngi's got a business plan. I've seen the business plan. Yes, I will adjudicate the business plan. I'll make sure that she's doing it. But that's no longer my final say-so. There's going to be the Blue Millennium Board, and the sovereign nation is a part of the Blue Millennium Board, and they can veto it.
Okay.
So we got to step up and make sure that we do have either quality business plans or use of fund commitment worksheets as to why I'm buying this building. Well, here's my business plan for the building. If I'm buying a car, I don't need a business plan for the car. I just need to say, I'm buying this car. Here's the use of funds. I'm going to be using it to buy this car. Here's the outline of the car. Here's the dealership I'm buying it from, and I'm buying it for business purposes.
Okay.
Now, if you needed to buy 10 vans, obviously you're going to be using that to buy the 10 vans for your walking billboard advertising. As long as you can justify what you're making the purchases for, then you're good to go.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, great. I got it.
Good. All right. Well, let's end this webinar, and we'll get it up on the website, and everybody can start to look at it and start to use it.
Great. Thank you, Gary.
Thanks for helping me. All the best.
Okay. Okay.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.